Hello and welcome to WNBA Courtside. I'm Cyrus. I'm joined by Lethabo and Kaunda. We're missing Tabiseng this week, but we're going to be giving you the big three. So we're going to give you all of the best stuff from the WNBA from the past week, some really big stories to look at. And hello, everybody.
Hey, Cy, how you doing?
Now, all good, all good. Let's get into it. I think one of the first things I want to talk about is the players of the week. So the WNBA announced the players of the week, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference players. Western Conference, none other than Brianna Stewart, who is my favorite player in the WNBA. And then we go to Lethabo's current favorite, and that's Maisha Hines-Allen, who's the Eastern Conference player of the week. What have you thought about those selections? Let's start with you, Lethabo.
Deserved. I think she's really great. She's a walking double-double. Her influence on that team has been great. Because remember the first episode, we were all concerned about Washington Mystics, scratching our heads, wondering how they're going to make the situation work, especially since EDD isn't really in the roster quite yet. And, you know, it's taken a bunch of bench players quintessentially just stepping it up a notch. And my, what do we have? We have a team with a 3-1 record to start? With some tough teams, with Seattle.
Beating the Storm, yes, I'm going to take that.
Storm.
Look.
And also beating Connecticut, who, now I'm starting to be like, okay, this team is not all the way together, but still a win is a win, especially over a good team like Connecticut. They were in the finals last year, so.
Yeah. Yep. No, and I agree with you. You know what? We gave you a hard time. We should have listened to Lee. Maybe that's it. They'll be like, forgot about Lee. So we're going to give you that. And you also spoke about Maisha Hines-Allen in glowing terms. And I think it was episode 1. So, the WNBA listened and they did what they did. Kaunda, you also in agreement? You happy with those selections for the players of the week?
Yeah, I think we need to start a new podcast called Listen to Lee. Because, she was right. She was right. I think, like Cyrus, I think it was in episode 1, you also mentioned that Brianna Stewart is back from injury, and I think she'll be playing with a bit of a chip on her shoulder because, she missed a lot of playing time, and that's MVP material right there. And I think Player of the Week, well deserved. But Maisha, look, Lee, I know I was not a believer. I was treating the Washington Mystics like they were Justin Bieber, and I was not a believer. But you done proven me wrong. Look, that looks like a team that's ready to win. With all EDD issues aside, I think they're willing to step up and show up, show up and show out. And I think these players of the week are well deserved. Just look at the numbers, Cyrus. Look at the numbers. They speak for themselves, right?
They really do.
They're putting up 18 points, 9.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists per game. And that's Brianna Stewart right there. That's almost a double-double. Same goes for Maisha, 17.5, 9.3. That's almost a double-double.
Plus 25 on the floor against Seattle.
Ooh.
That plus minus is ridiculous.
Yeah,
no, you can't escape it. You can't escape it. Lee she is ferocious right now.
He's rubbing it.
But I think that when you look at these selections, they are the best players in the WNBA at the moment. And Brianna Stewart, I'm just so happy to see her back in full flow. And from the blocking to the passing to the rebounding to the shooting, she's just in a great groove. So it's going to be, I think this sort of early MVP watch, she's got to be the front runner.
Definitely, Cyrus. This could be another MVP season for Stewie, and I know one thing's for sure. You're going to be happy, especially because she's your favorite player, and you also you fancy the Seattle Storm. I'm still hoping the LA Sparks will spark up because they seem to be a little warm at the moment. But
Spark only a name.
The shade.
I'm just saying. I call it like I see it. But I think the thing for me...
Okay, so let's ask the resident professional. What do you think is wrong with your team? What's going on?
My team.
Yeah, them Sparks.
Yes.
The Sparks. Look, I think Great expectations, bright lights, and still rusty. I think they can still put it together. They've got all the pieces to have a great season. I think they just need to start gelling. And while watching some of their games recently, I might start doing something I rarely do, and that's agreeing with Cyrus Rogers. It could be a coaching situation going on in Los Angeles. There could be a coaching situation there. Could be. That's what I'm saying. I don't really agree with Cyrus Rogers all the time, even when he has points. But I was watching the previous game. I'm like, that Cyrus guy might have a point here. It's not all on the players, what's happening to that guy with the clipboard,
Exactly.
But I think a great team, besides the level of the coach, can still rise. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with all due respect, Tyronn Lue was not the best coach in the NBA when the Cleveland Cavaliers won their championship, right? No, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying that Mike Budenholzer was there, Mike D'Antoni was there, Steve Kerr was there. There were greater coaches than him there at the time, but he took a Cleveland Cavaliers to a championship. Obviously, the team was also determined, and they were listening to this guy who told them, follow my lead. We won't get into that.
And GM LeBron.
GM LeBron, point guard LeBron, center LeBron.
GM LeBron. But look, Cyrus Lee, I'm beginning to believe there could be a coaching situation going on in Los Angeles. Because it's not the players. It's not on the players.
And look, to Lee's point.
That could be true.
Doesn't it seem like one of the issues here might be that LA's gone trying to play deep in bully ball? That in essence, when you look at their key star players, they're not shooters primarily. They play close to the basket. Candace Parker, Nneka Ogwumike, they're the kind of players who need to have that ball right up there. And these days, what you're seeing, especially in the WNBA, is great shooting. So when you've got shooters on the opposition team, you're playing catch up because 3 is more than 2, and teams are going to be pulling away from them. So it can be a bit tough. And I think this is a great time to actually go into the second part of the discussion. And Lee, I'm going to go towards you with this one, which has got to do with looking at the stats leaders currently in the WNBA, because those stats are telling a really interesting story. Because certain teams are struggling, like we talked about the Connecticut Sun, yet Duana Bonner is having a career, she's averaging 23 points a game. That's mental. 23
points a game. But that's the thing with the Connecticut Suns, is that their offense is literally predicated on and that's why you can even see a dip in Alyssa's performance a bit. Like night in, night out, imagine having to be like, I have the offense on my back. And especially, and I would imagine it's harder for Alyssa because she knows she's been in a situation where she doesn't have to always shoot, and now she's like, now it's part of her responsibility.
Yep. Yeah. So where do you go?
Need to figure something out. It is not looking good.
No, it really is.
I mean, this is the point where you try sign other couple.
Yeah. Though one of the things for me has to do with looking at just how good some of the other players who are in the points per game leading standings are, and just looking at where their teams are. So for instance, Arike Ogunbowale, I've got so much love for her.
Shout out.
She's averaging 20 points a game. Asia Wilson, averaging 19.8 points a game. Brianna Stewart, 18.8 points a game. Ariel Atkins, 18.8 points a game. Then when you look at their standings, Connecticut and Dallas are not where they should be. However, and neither are the Aces, truth be told, in terms of the talent they have in their roster. But then you've got Stewie and you've got Ariel Atkins, who are important pieces in teams that are doing well.
Cyrus, I think this goes back to what Lee mentioned in one of our earlier episodes, where piece performance plays a large part here. You might be putting up all those impressive points. Remember, I think we were talking about Asia Wilson and a great plays per night. But if the rest of the pieces are not showing up, you can score your 30 points. You can have your 35 points, but it can still be in a losing effort.
Yeah.
And I think as much as I do respect individual performances, I'm the kind of guy that can follow a player from franchise to franchise because I like that player, and I won't mention any names. But if you keep performing and the pieces around you are not performing, you can be a stats leader in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, the works. You can take over 5 categories. But if the rest of the squad is not showing up 110%, you'll be putting up all those numbers in a losing effort. Russell Westbrook.
Lee, this is it. He's opened the door.
Double.
Yeah.
I'm triggered.
His team didn't make the final.
Yeah.
But he averaged the triple-double, and an impressive triple-doubles. But the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't make the finals. You see what I mean? Like, Brody was showing up nightly, but the rest of the people around him, your Robertson,
and I think that's a good point. The rebuttal, Lethabo.
I mean, well, I blame that solely on what's his name? Sam, what's his name? I'm losing it. Sam Presley, thank you. But I mean, because they weren't prepared to lose KD, I think they expected KD to be other people argument. I will argue people down with that, because any player that has left OKC or that has been with Russie has always said the same thing. I became a better player after Russ.
Okay. Now that we've covered the Russell Westbrook, yes, exactly, in the WNBA, let's get back to it, because anytime you bring up Russell Westbrook, that's the hackles get raised. But looking at the stats leaders as well. So obviously Sylvia Fowles is leading and rebounding. That's just what she does. Alyssa Thomas is also right behind her. But then you've got Candace Parker behind them and Monique Billings. That's an important stat, though I think that's contributing for the Lynx in terms of trying to get them and keep them in games. But look at the assists leaders here, and that for me is one of the key things. Courtney Vandersloot back at it again, doing what she does at the Chicago Sky, and they're the number 1 team in the WNBA at the moment. With Julie Edelman as the sort of runner-up in that space right now, in second place at Indiana, and then Chelsea Gray at the Sparks. So it's a weird thing, because if Chelsea Gray is that high up, surely the Sparks should be doing better. No? No? Not working for you?
That brings about the whole individual performance versus team performance.
But you've said this.
My previous argument.
You've said this. Assists are all about, it's helping, right? If you've got assists and you've got points, then you're contributing on both ends of the court. So therefore, if Chelsea Gray is one of the better assisters in the league, it means that the players on her team should be doing better. Lethabo, do you agree with this?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched enough Los Angeles Sparks to figure out what the actual problem is. I actually just need to watch more games. But Kaunda, you tell me, like, what do you think is it right? Is it shooting that's a problem? Because it sounds like they had everything on paper. Well, not really 3-point shooting. Kind of. I think they have one person who shoots from 3, really. But what's happening? What do you think? I don't think it's on the defensive end, because the last time I checked, there was still a good team on that end. So what's happening on the offense?
I was about to say, we're going back to the Sparks again. The Sparks on paper defensively, they are fantastic. You know, especially in terms of the size they've got there and what the players can do. Chelsea Gray is no walkover. Candace Parker is big. She's got a great wingspan. Neko Ogumike, also a sizable power forward, plays in the paint very well. But who are their shooters? It takes it back to what Cyrus was saying. If you're making a bunch of 2s, okay. But if the opponents are answering with 3s, this goes back to the Golden State Warriors formula, right?
Exactly.
You're answering with 2s. We're making it rain 3. You are going to lose.
So let me jump in here. Let me jump in here, because this will actually muddy the waters. In the top 5, at number 5 is LA Sparks' Rokino Williams. she's there shooting threes. So she's in the top 5 of 3-pointers made right now in the WNBA. But she's only one player.
Yep.
If you look at the rest of them, I don't see another Sparks player, Simone Augustus, in 19th place. That cannot be who you're turning
1.5 attempts a game. No, not 1.5. 2.3 attempts a game.
It's crazy. So they're clearly not trying to play outside. They're trying to play inside. I think
same thing with Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas got torched by Phoenix because they refused. And he was just standing there like, shoot from 3. Like, Taurasi was coming in from 3. Skylar was coming in from 3. And they were just like, so we're just going to run into the lane.
And that's, that's a big thing. If you're depending on your twos and your opponents can comfortably shoot from 3-point range, Cyrus Lee, you're playing a losing game.
Yeah.
I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I've seen the Cleveland Cavaliers damn near cry at the hands of the Golden State Warriors when the Splash Brothers were splashed.
Listen,
Then guess what, Splash cousin in KD. It was just like, okay, let's just sit down and cry because we're not winning anything here. That's when they were swept. Because if they're living on the 3-point line and you're driving down the lane and doing your thing, you're gonna lose. Making impressive, layups and all sorts of things. But that
3 counts more than 2. So
because you gotta imagine 3 counts more than 2.
Especially with teams that are now then predicate their defense on clogging up the lane. So if you have a defense that clogs up the lane and then on the offensive end they can shoot, it's tickets. Goodbye.
Yeah,
good night. Thanks for coming.
You lose before the game even starts.
Exactly. It's great. It's great coaching. Look, if you're able to at least make those sort of adjustments where you can say, let's shoot more than the other guys. Let's do that. Okay, so we've talked about the stats leaders. I'm always a fan of looking at who's doing what. Let's go into the games to watch this weekend. So early Saturday morning, maybe you're waking up really early, like 3 a.m. Central Africa time. Sparks versus Aces. That's going to be a really, really good game. Kaunda, what are your thoughts on that one?
First of all, let me point out that only Lee is going to be awake at that time of the morning.
I don't know. I think about you, Kaunda.
Only Lee's got the energy to start waking up at that time of the morning. No, I kid, but LA Sparks versus Vegas Aces. I love this matchup. I think it's a matchup where my Sparks can shine, because the Vegas Aces are also still looking a little shaky for my liking. I think when you don't have your dominant big in the house and you're still adjusting, Liz Cambage, I know they miss you there. So I think this is the opportunity for the Sparks to take one home, and I think it's Sparks in Vegas. Well, it's in the wobble, but it's a Vegas home game, right?
Yeah, these home games never count for anything.
I think LA are going to Vegas and they're winning all the chips on the table. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, at least I never have to worry about them shooting from the 3. So there's that on that.
Because this is almost an even Stevens game, this is not a great shooting team and neither is that one. So let's see what happens in the paint. Let's see how many mid-ranges will go in.
I like that. Lee, your thoughts on that one?
The only thing I would say, Sparks, the only thing I'm concerned with is that they don't have the pace to match. I feel like LA, especially once they get going, in terms of fast break points, I mean, you kind of saw remnants of that with Phoenix. Is that Phoenix just did a better job at it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Sparks though.
Okay. So
I'm still not convinced. Hey, Angel did look. I mean, she scored 18 points, but I mean, she looked a little sluggish in the first. Was it the first quarter with the Phoenix game, first or second quarter? And then she picked it up, and it was literally Asia for a minute, and then it was until the second unit when Sugar came in, where you started getting scoring from other people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Sparks, eh?
Okay, so 2 Sparks. I think I'm going to be the joker in the pack here. I think the Sparks should probably win it, but I there are certain games that should define a player's season. And for me, this is the kind of game where the Aces can really pull themselves together and say, we are a team that needs to be counted as well. And A'ja Wilson is looking really, really good. So I think that A'ja might have enough in the tank to really go out there and start imposing herself. She does need help. I hope the likes of Angel McCoughtry can help, but we never know. We can only guess at this point. So our next...
That Hamby Parker duel is going to be fun. Juicy.
Let's also remember that Angel is also coming off an injury that ended her season last year.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
So she's still working herself into the groove and then also going to a new home.
Yeah.
So I think you got to give them time to get that vibe clicking.
No,
It's better for my Sparks, but you know.
No, good point. Good point. And I agree with you.
If you look at the pieces they're missing, and Angel's coming off like a serious injury, which she obviously rehabbed while they're on break.
Yeah.
But look, I'm still Sparks though.
No, I get you. You got your 2 Sparks. I'm going Aces. Let's move on to the next game, which is the big one for me on the weekend. It's happening at 9 o'clock Central African time on Sunday night, and that's the Seattle Storm taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Lethabo, I gotta get your input on this first. Who do you think is going to come out on top in that one?
This is a hard one for me because I think just by watching Phoenix this weekend, I finally think that they're getting it together. Now, they still haven't figured out a way to get Brittany Griner back to Brittany Griner level.
Yeah.
And even against Las Vegas. She was, I mean, she didn't do a lot really. I mean, she was definitely a presence in the post, which is necessary when you have an A'ja Wilson.
Yeah.
But in terms of scoring, she was missing a lot of shots.
Yeah.
But Mama Tarasi is back. I think the first 2 games, I think the reason why they lost them was because she wasn't making a lot of attempts, and neither was Skylar. So I think they were both trying to figure out who's
the big dog?
Who's doing what? Who's going to lead the offense? But now it's decided that Tarasi is, and Skylar is trying to chip in where she can. She had a couple of late steals in the Vegas game that were really impressive. So she is trying to assert herself and find herself in where she fits into that role. Yeah. I still think they're still figuring that out. But if you let Mama Tarasi go, So
who are you picking? You picking Phoenix here?
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say Seattle for once.
Okay.
I think Seattle.
Okay.
I'm going to say Seattle.
All of this talk about Phoenix.
I'm still not I'm still not convinced with everything that I see in Phoenix. Unless this is the game that Brittany Griner goes off, I doubt it. It's going to be Seattle's game, even without Subert. Is Subert going to play?
She might. I'm not 100% sure right now.
Okay.
I think she might. But Kaunda, we've got one Seattle. Are you going Phoenix or are you going Seattle?
So I'm going to go left here. This is where Brianna Stewart is going to get guarded. They're going to switch Brittany Griner on Brianna Stewart, and she's really going to guard her mercilessly. Okay. And I think the Phoenix Mercury is going to hold down Seattle and take this one. It's going to be a very close game, but I'm calling it by way of Arizona to Phoenix Mercury.
Okay. And you know me, I'm a Seattle Storm guy. I believe in Stewie. That will be my t-shirt. So I'm going Seattle in this one. I think that they've got enough in terms of the all-round play. I love Tarasi. She's been incredible. But I also feel as if this is also another statement game for the Storm. They lost against the Mystics, and I think they're really trying to show the WNBA that they've got what it takes. So I'm going Storm in that one. The final one, early hours of Monday morning, Minnesota Lynx taking on the Sparks. I'll start with you, Kaunda, because it is your Sparks. You've spoken them up. Do you think that they'll have enough to beat Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota. How many games have they won this season so far?
Well, it's not bad. I mean, let's just see. Minnesota are currently 3-1.
And they 3-1.
Yeah, that's 3-1 as of today. By
so,
Monday, it could change. Whereas the Sparks are
even 500. By the time we're recording this, right? But look, I think the Minnesota Lynx need to rebuild. They've lost too many pieces along the way in the last 2 seasons, and I think even at the moment, while people are still getting into their grooves, they don't have enough to take the Los Angeles Sparks team, especially when you're looking at size. Nah, I think they don't have it. And do they have a bunch of shooters that can light up the sky? Not really. So I think this one is not even in the paint. I think LA Sparks have got a slight edge in this one.
Okay. So you're going Sparks. Lee, do you agree?
I'm going Sparks.
Because I've got some points I need to make as well.
Okay, I'm going to not go Sparks. I'm actually gonna go Lynx. I am a bit convinced the fact that they were able to, the fact that they've been able to do so well is telling, and the fact that they also won against the Sky. And granted, the Sky is the high. I mean, if we're talking about high-scoring teams, that's another one. I mean, don't they have like 6 players that average double digits? That's ridiculous. And they were able to keep them at bay, and not only just. I mean, granted, it was a 2-point win, but it's still a win.
Win is a win.
I'm gonna go that side.
Okay, and I must say, maybe it's my hateration here, but I think I might also go the Minnesota Lynx. And there was something that I realized the other day was that we have not mentioned Napheesa Collier at all. And she has been impressive. This is the Rookie of the Year?
True.
Right?
Yep.
She basically is one of those players where we thought Asia Wilson was going to be the next big thing. Collier's like, hold my Gatorade because I'm going to show you what I can do. And I love the look of her. She's got a really great confidence about her, and she plays the game hard. So I think that there's something about the way Minnesota Lynx have played pretty much throughout their entire history is, they work hard in order to get their victories. They've got the rebounds leader, the all-time rebound leader in the WNBA in Sylvia Fowles. So there's going to be a massive issue with trying to get the ball back from them if you miss your shots. And Sylvia's also up there putting back some buckets when she needs to.
Second chance buckets. Huh?
Exactly. So I think that might be the critical difference here. So I'm going to go Lynx. But thank you guys so much. It's been a really great episode of WNBA Courtside. We know that you guys have got your parting words. You're looking forward to the weekend, Lee? Yeah,
there's going to be so much basketball, so little time. My gosh. Goodbye, my sleeping habits. Like, no thoughts. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
I love that. And Kaunda, same thing with you?
Yeah, same thing with me, man. Too much basketball, not enough sleep. But it's fine, Lee. We'll sleep later. Let's save it for December or some holiday of that. Oh no, we got Christmas games and stuff like that. So look,
it's all happening.
We'll sleep next year.
Well, I love that. And from me, Cyrus, I'm looking forward to a great weekend. I hope you are too. Thank you for watching.